Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 4, Xuansheng Dao Sect Twin Rice Sect. Chapter 156, 411 Conger. 156th of Volume 4. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. What did you say? Zhe Shantong thought he had misheard. Li Wei said, the Demon Clan, Twin Rice Sect, Demon Kingdom, and Netherworld planned to attack Lingxiao City months ago. Their goal was to decisively crush the human clan's power and reduce it to scattered fragments. Now that the Demon Clan has moved, while the Twin Rice Sect and Demon Kingdom remain inactive, it indicates their plan hasn't changed. According to their simulations, the attack on the Zhu clan was merely a feint, intended to draw the Imperial Court's Transcendent and Immortal Realm giants to the Western Territory. The Zhu clan's defeat in the Western Sea Slaves gathering at Divine Light Pass were likely prearranged between the Zhu clan's Transcendent and the Zhuoqiu clan's Transcendent. Divine Light Pass is now more fortified than ever. If the Demon Clan launches a direct attack, they'll suffer heavy losses. Qilin Zhuang has no other choice but to resort to a surprise attack on Lingxiao City with their top experts. The timing of the attack on Lingxiao City will likely coincide with the Demon Clan's complete conquest of the three prefectures and the convergence of their main force outside Divine Light Pass. By then, the Imperial Court's elite forces will undoubtedly be drawn to Divine Light Pass, leaving Lingxiao City at its most vulnerable. Zhenhai Guanwu said, by now, after the battle report arrived, the Imperial Court should have already dispatched Transcendent and Immortal Realm giants to Divine Light Pass. Therefore, before we act, we must secretly recall the Transcendent experts. This will take at least a day. Li Wei asked, so, we'll strike the day after tomorrow. The moment the prefectural offices in Lingxiao City opened their doors the day after tomorrow morning, Zhenhai Guanwu replied. Zhe Shantong paced like an ant on a hot griddle, his gaze darting between Li Wei and Zhenhai Guanwu. Finally, he interjected, impossible. Absolutely impossible. Cloud Heaven Immortal Plane and Lingxiao City are impregnable, protected by countless formation arts. Even the martial mystic Dao Heavenly Emperor would pay a price to breach them. Li Wei, release me. Regardless of whether this is true or false, I must report this immediately. Li Wei looked at him sternly. Zhe Shantong, do you know why I've hesitated to inform the Imperial Court? You understand the inner workings of the Imperial Court better than I do. Why would the Demon Kingdom Crown Prince dare to act so brazenly in Lingxiao City? Zhe Shantong knew what he meant. Regardless, the Transcendent experts cannot betray the Imperial Court, and the formations cannot be flawed. I can't waste any more time arguing with you. If you insist on reporting this now, I'll have to detain you, Li Wei said. Zhe Shantong looked at Zhenhai Guanwu and said, I'll listen. To her. Zhenhai Guanwu replied, 3 hours until dawn. Go gather the Mist Shadow Army within Lingxiao City. Announce that they're heading to the Western Territory, drawing everyone's attention to you. You actually know about the Mist Shadow Army. You actually know. Zhe Shantong muttered to herself. Zhenhai Guanwu continued, judging by your expression, the Mist Shadow Army must still exist. This army once spanned all 300 prefectures of the Lingxiao realm, serving as Lingxiao Palace's final trump card. Logically, only Yu Yao should know about them. Zhe Shantong said, after Master's accident, members of the Mist Shadow Army sought me out. But only Master could command them, and she needed a military token. They're hidden in various secret realms across the 8 prefectures, few in number but all highly skilled. It's impossible for them to all reach the Cloud Heaven Immortal Plane within a day. That's why I'm only asking you to gather the Mist Shadow Army within Lingxiao City. As for the military token, I can't provide it. You'll have to find a way yourself. Zhenhai Guanwu said, if you succeed, I'll let you leave. If you fail, you'll remain in the Phoenix Pavilion with your master. I can do it. I can definitely do it. Zhe Shantong declared. With Zhe Shantong's cover, the 4 easily escaped the cloud mist formation. Once they were far from the palace gates, Zhenhai Guanwu and Li Ling left first, disappearing into the night. Zhe Shantong turned to Li Wei, who exactly is she? You already have your suspicions. Is there any point in asking? Li Wei replied. Zhe Shantong said, but how is this possible? If our martial mystic ancestor returned, she should trust me more. Why would she be so close to you? Just do as she instructed and don't ruin our plans. Her trust in you is a chance for you to gain experience. Li Wei waved his hand and quickly left to attend to his own affairs. Late at night. Pale Moon Square resembled a night city, still bustling with carriages and brightly lit. Music and dance never ceased, and the atmosphere was one of decadent luxury. Even the grim news from the Western Territory earlier that day only caused grief and worry for a small minority. To most, the war seemed distant, far removed from Lingxiao City. Not far from Pale Moon Square, in the Transcendent Manor. Shi Zhoujai sat on a rockery inside the gate, gazing at the towering pavilions in the distance. He could see women in colorful robes dancing gracefully. The melodious sounds of zithers, flutes, and lutes filled the air, drawing him into a state of intoxication. He said, in such a moment of grief, they still have the heart for song and dance. Sometimes, I truly believe the hidden sect should just leave, let Lingxiao City fall, and let them experience the true brutality of war. Elder Ao Shan squatted before the door, feeding the strange insects in a jar. He chuckled, when you drew the life or death lot a few days ago, you drew the life slip. You chose not to leave. Shi Zhoujai had no reply. He smiled wryly and said, I heard the Divine Hidden One beat up great Zen Master Xinku of Guanshan in Fu Prefecture. Xinku is now leading a large force, searching for him everywhere. Elder Ao Shan said, Great Zen Master Xinku deliberately spread the news to alert the heretical sect as quickly as possible, revealing the Divine Hidden One's betrayal and Venerable Nan's involvement. Shi Zhoujai nodded. The Divine Hidden One should have returned to Li Prefecture by now. With his talent for psychic power, given time, he will undoubtedly become a holy spiritual king, the guardian deity of the Zhu Li tribe. Dong! Dong! A rhythmic knocking echoed through the courtyard. Elder Ao Shan peered through the crack in the door, then dispelled the formations and opened it. As Li Wei entered, he dispelled his disguise technique. I need to see Elder Yao. Elder Yao was, of course, Yao Qingshan. Why have you returned? Shi Zhoujai and Elder Ao Shan exchanged bewildered glances. Li Wei didn't have time to explain. He turned to Elder Ao Shan and asked, how many hidden ones and hidden elders remain in the city? How long will it take to relay the message to all of them? Besides us, there are about 20 more. And we have roughly 300 people who can be mobilized, Elder Ao Shan said after careful consideration, should we summon everyone? It would take until noon tomorrow at the earliest to gather them all. Li Wei nodded, do it now. Shi Zhoujai added, Elder Yao and Elder Zhou have gone to handle a major matter. They left after news of the Western Territories' defeat reached the city and haven't returned yet. Li Wei strode toward the council hall. Spotting Hidden Two hurrying out, he immediately ordered, bring me copies of all the recent intelligence reports. Also, prepare a bridal chamber for me. Hidden Two, still reeling from Li Wei's sudden return, froze. A bridal chamber. Who's getting married? Me. Li Wei continued, it must be ready before the city gates close tomorrow. Preferably by noon. Hidden Two and Shi Zhoujai exchanged glances, their jaws clenched, their mouths twisted into grimaces, their eyes filled with suspicion and bewilderment. Hidden Two asked, should we prepare wedding robes, wine, and a banquet? Is that even a question? Of course, Li Wei replied. Cloud Pavilion District, the ancestral manor of the Taishi clan. At the first moment of the yin hour, 2 hours remained until dawn. The manor enveloped several mountains, shrouded in deep, serene tranquility. In the courtyard of Taishi Qingxi's residence, a lamp glowed dimly. Mist swirled around the courtyard, enveloping the entire world and isolating it from all external perception. Liang Chu, a holy spiritual master of the Liang clan, was over 200 years old and held a high position in the imperial court. His hair and beard were white, yet he knelt trembling in the courtyard. Beside him lay a corpse. From the residence emerged an aged figure leaning on a cane. He wore a long indigo robe, his body stooped, his face gaunt, barely larger than a palm, covered in wrinkles. Beneath those wrinkles, his eyes gleamed with a faint silver light. Liang Chu dared not meet his gaze, bowing his head in reverence. Teacher. I will investigate thoroughly, expose the entire Liang clan. Second son, the follow-up is in your hands. Keep my return a secret for now. Duke Taishi's voice was hoarse as he passed Liang Chu without a glance. His snake-patterned cane, riddled with cracks, emitted a starlit glow from within. The light gradually faded into the mist. Taishi Qingxi stood at the door, bowed, and then turned his gaze to Liang Chu. The Liang clan's ties to the heretical sect run far deeper than just Senior Master Liang. Junior brother, in these critical times, we don't have the luxury of slow investigations. Duke Taishi Qingxi walked through the mist, his mind heavy with the turmoil in the Eastern Territory and the war in the Western Territory. Reflecting on the past 20 years, he felt the Lingxiao Palace's fate was sealed, beyond redemption. Following a mountain path, he returned to his thatched hut in the valley. The hut was 3,000 years old, surrounded by 2 rows of fences. The courtyard was filled with various fruits and vegetables, all of them millennial essence herbs. As Duke Taishi reached the hut and opened the gate, a woman's voice called from within, Konger, you're finally back. He froze, his head bowed, his gaze fixed on the ground. His thoughts, previously consumed by worries and distractions, cleared. A faint smile touched his wrinkled face, as the phantom voice instantly transported him back 3,000 years. Konger, you're finally back. Have you finished the talisman I asked you to draw? I think so. The 12 or 13-year-old boy stammered nervously. Finished means finished. Not finished means not finished. 10 lashes for laziness, 30 for lying. Duke Taishi took a deep breath, recalling his childhood. It felt like a lifetime ago. Now, he was old and frail, and he couldn't help but chuckle to himself. Time truly spares no one. How did I end up thinking of my teacher? The world knew him as Duke Tai Shi, including his 2 surviving sons. But only he knew his true name, Tai Shi Kong. Konger. The voice echoed through the room again. It was so clear, it couldn't be a hallucination. Duke Tai Shi straightened his hunched back as much as he could, as if struck by lightning. He stared intently into the thatched hut, but through the window lattice, he saw only a red blur. His arm, which leaned on his staff, trembled uncontrollably. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 4, Xuanhuan Dao Sect Twin Rice Sect. Chapter 157 412 Teacher, I have not been negligent. 157th of Volume 4. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Mist shrouded the mountains and forests. Inside the thatched hut, a crimson gemstone lamp burned eternally bright. Zhenhai Guanwu, clad in red robes, approached the wooden door. Her expression was as solemn as it had been on that afternoon 3,000 years ago. Her face remained ageless, her youthful beauty undiminished as she gazed upon Tai Shi Kong, who had returned from his playful wanderings. However, instead of a disciplinary ruler, she now held the void enlightenment sword. The Tai Shi Kong stood at the fence gate, his tear-blurred eyes fixed on her. His voice, hoarse and trembling, whispered, "Teacher, have you come to take me away? To be greeted by you at the end of my life? I'm truly happy. Only a millennium has passed, yet you've aged so terribly. Have you neglected your cultivation these past years?" Zhenhai Guanwu felt the weight of time's relentless passage. The Tai Shi Kong closed his eyes, wiped away his tears, and smiled. He finally accepted the reality before him. The woman from his past had returned, not as a figment of his imagination. Old Zhou and Yao Qingshan drove back to Transcendent Manor. The formation's shimmering barrier closed once more. Thump. A bulging black sack made of a special material was tossed from the carriage, landing heavily on the ground. Its surface was covered in soft scales, forged from the hide of a demon king. Not only was it exceptionally durable, but it also completely isolated its contents from external sense and perceptions. Yao Qingshan, disguised as a man, stepped out of the carriage and glared at old man Ao Shan and Li Wei, who hurried to greet her. Her voice was sharp, almost scolding. "Why did you come back? Lingxiao City is more dangerous now than ever." Old Zhou, still in his coachman's guise, frowned deeply. "We'll explain later," he said. Li Wei asked, "Who's in the sack?" "Song Yulo, the Song family patriarch," Yao Qingshan replied. "What?" Li Wei couldn't believe their audacity. He immediately knelt down, untied the sack's cords and dispelled the rune sealing it, freeing the handsome man bound inside. It was indeed Song Yulo. Song Yulo was conscious but dazed, unable to speak as his gaze swept over the 4 figures in the courtyard. When he saw Li Wei, he visibly relaxed. The battle at Six Thoughts Zen Temple had revealed Li Wei's integrity and courage to many. Even giants of the immortal realm couldn't help but admire such a person, knowing they might not have acted similarly in his place. "You too, one an elder, the other hundreds of years old, how could you act so rashly and recklessly? Song Yulo isn't someone you can just seize on a whim." Li Wei immediately glanced outside the door, then up at the sky. He had a growing sense that the imperial court's armies were about to surround them. He also felt that the third palace master might unleash a formation beam at any moment, leveling the entire Transcendent Manor to the ground. Yao Qingshan remained remarkably calm. With the Zhu sect's defeat, the enemy will strike within 10 days, perhaps even sooner. Song Yulo has long been under the Twin Rice sect's control, occupying a critical position. He must be eliminated immediately. We must force the enemy to act prematurely within 3 days, at any cost. Only by disrupting their rhythm can we make them pay the ultimate price. Yao Qingshan's strategy perfectly aligned with Zhenhai Guanwu's thinking. Song Yulo sat on the ground, his limbs bound, his eyes blazing with fury as he shook his head violently. Li Wei glanced at Song Yulo, recalling their desperate battle against the demon child on the prefecture plains. Though he had long suspected him, he couldn't believe Song Yulo was someone blinded by hatred, unable to distinguish between what was important and what wasn't, or between right and wrong. A 60-year-old martial mystic cultivator in the immortal realm was undoubtedly a dragon among men. "Let him speak," Li Wei said. "Let's hear what he has to say." Whoosh. Old Zhou, seated in the carriage, pointed a finger through the air, and a beam of spiritual light struck Song Yulo's neck. Song Yulo collapsed to the ground, finally able to speak. He shouted, "I did have contact with the heretical sect, but it was merely a feigned alliance, a pretense of being controlled. I wanted to uncover their true motives. Only by understanding our enemy can we know when to strike back and inflict a decisive blow. I reported this matter to the West Sea King long ago. Verify it with him, and my innocence will be proven." Old Zhou sneered. "The West Sea King is stationed at Divine Light Pass, far away. We don't have time to contact him. Yao Qingshan produced a book and tossed it to Li Wei. We confiscated this from him. Fortunately, we intervened in time. Based on his trajectory, he was heading toward the Six Thoughts Zen Temple. Song Yulo looked bewildered, racking his memory, but he couldn't recall anything that had happened after nightfall, not even how he had been captured. His memory seemed to have been blank for several hours. Li Wei opened the book and began flipping through it, his breath catching in his throat as his pupils constricted violently. Inside were detailed diagrams of the formation nodes and their corresponding scriptures across the cloud heaven immortal plane. There was even the scriptures for the Great Nine Heavens cloud formation. Song Yulo asked, "What is that?" Li Wei stepped forward and flipped open a page, showing it to Song Yulo. The ink is fresh. As junior minister of the Qilin Terrace, you're responsible for inspecting the formation hubs. It's not surprising you have the formation scriptures manual. But how did you copy the formation scriptures for the Great Nine Heavens cloud formation? Isn't the third palace master at the summit of Qilin Terrace Mountain? This. Song Yulu's eyes narrowed as he examined the contents of the book. A chill ran down his spine, and his scalp tingled. The third palace master is locked in a spiritual duel with the crown prince of the demon kingdom. She can't afford any distractions, so she's entrusted all matters to us. The cloud heaven immortal plane has 180 formation hubs. The Qilin Terrace and the Taishi clan's city defense garrison each manage half. The Qilin Terrace's records are very detailed. I've reviewed them before, but I never organized them. As for the Great Nine Heavens cloud array's formation scriptures, the Qilin Terrace only possesses half of it. Many spiritual masters study it, each mastering a separate, independent portion. This ensures that in the event of a major crisis, everyone can assist the third palace master in activating the array. This is too detailed. Why is it in my handwriting? I've never copied these things. Song Yulo was utterly bewildered, his jaw clenched. He spoke almost pleadingly, Li Wei, something terrible is about to happen in Lingxiao City. I must see the third palace master immediately. I know I'm under suspicion, but I swear, on the honor of the West Sea King's manor, I would never betray the imperial court or the human race. Taishi Ancestral Estate, Thatched Cottage. Taishi Kong sat rigidly on a wooden stool, his hands clasped around the head of his staff as he faced the red-robed woman across the lamplit table. Teacher, I have not been idle. 1,000 years ago, the Nether Realm descended upon us like a storm. In that cataclysmic disaster, my physical body was nearly destroyed, and my spiritual essence suffered grievous wounds. Since then, my cultivation progress has been painfully slow. Zhenhai Guanwu said, for now, don't tell anyone about my return. Taishi Kong nodded, sensing something amiss in her demeanor. Teacher, something major may be about to happen on the cloud heaven immortal plane. What makes you say that? Zhenhai Guanwu asked. Too many things are strange, the Taishi Kong replied. In the Eastern Territory, the Dragon Sect and the Three Islands barbarians are keeping the Duke of the Eastern Sea and the Thundercloud Sect occupied. Meanwhile, a transcendent monster race is wreaking havoc in Liang Province, clearly aiming to keep me pinned down in the east. The situation in the Southern Territory is equally clear. The heretical sect is using secret techniques beneath Fu Prefecture State to cultivate rice with corpses. The Zuoqiu clan and the Zhang clan are now completely immobilized. In the Northern Territory, the Snow Sword Tang clan crossed the misty grassland and seized Fengzhou. With that, the old fox from the Chen clan has no escape and must remain there to keep watch. As for the Western Territory, the situation is catastrophic. The Second Palace Master and Cao Caitian set out for Divine Light Pass today. All transcendent beings, military forces, and immortal realm experts have been diverted and drawn away. Lingxiao City is now defended only by the Great Palace Master, who remains locked in his palace, blood-clad Grand Steward Yi Xuanming, and the Third Palace Master. Currently, the Third Palace Master's entire focus is consumed by the Crown Prince of the Demon Kingdom, who is stationed at the Six Thoughts Zen Temple. The two are locked in a psychic standoff, their minds intertwined in a tense stalemate. With all her energy devoted to maintaining vigilance, she cannot possibly oversee the city's affairs. Yi Xuanming is tasked with guarding the inner treasury and the national treasury. How can he possibly monitor the entire city? Li Longshu and the transcendent beings of the sacred dark family have vanished into the Six Thoughts Zen Temple, concealing themselves in the shadows. No one knows when or where they might strike, unleashing a devastating blow against Lingxiao City. Moreover, the heretical sect has undoubtedly infiltrated the city with their own transcendent experts. At least 10 factions are involved in the Ghost City and Bone Mansion within the Nether Realm of the Dead. Conservatively estimating, at least 10 transcendent-level dead spirits will intervene. Most likely, ancient monsters have already entered the city. How can Yi Xuanming possibly monitor so many transcendent beings alone? Everyone assumes the Crown Prince of the Demon Kingdom's appearance is merely a ploy to tie down the Imperial Court's transcendent forces in Lingxiao City, leaving the Western Territory vulnerable. But is it truly impossible for the enemy to strike at Lingxiao City itself? How much of the great palace master's deterrent power remains? Teacher, have you visited her? Zhenhai Guanwu replied, there's no hope for her. Conger, the battle at Cloud Heaven Immortal Plain will erupt in 2 days, barring any unforeseen circumstances. I intend to ignite the flames of war early. Will you join me in a battle with no chance of victory? Tai Shi Kong, fully aware of the peril, had secretly returned to Lingxiao City, making his stance clear. He smiled without fear. I initially thought this would be a desperate, solitary struggle, a bitter, futile resistance before death. But facing it alongside you, teacher, makes it seem less daunting. It feels like returning to my youth, filled with fighting spirit and anticipation. Zhenhai Guanwu instructed, secretly summon Huo of the Eastern Sea and Chen Su of the Chen clan back here. What about the second palace master, Cao Caishan, and Song Yangxian? Tai Shi Kong asked. Let them defend the western territory, Zhenhai Guanwu replied. Lingxiao City has made too many mistakes over the years, losing the people's trust. I see no way to save it. Let it fall if it must. But while the imperial court may perish, the human race must endure. You and I, master and disciple, will give Lingxiao City a dignified end on this Cloud Heaven Immortal Plain, repaying the suffering it has inflicted on the world for over a decade. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 4, Xuanhuan Dao Sect Twin Rice Sect. Chapter 158 413 800. 158th of Volume 4. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Song Yulo gave a bitter smile, knowing that with such irrefutable evidence, the others would never believe him. Li Wei felt uneasy, sensing something strange about Song Yulu's demeanor. He turned to Yao Qingshan. Is there death spirit fire planted within him? Yao Qingshan shook her head. If the Twin Rice sect had planted death spirit fire in him, the third palace master would have noticed. Li Wei pressed on. This is highly unusual. How could the Twin Rice sect possibly leave someone as important as Song Yulo uncontrolled? Patriarch Song, did you ever provide the Twin Rice sect with your clothing, soul threads, blood, hair, birthdate and time, or any other personal information? Song Yulo, desperate to clear his name, answered without hesitation, that venerable did ask for my birthdate and blood to forge a unique Twin Rice sect's life token just for me. That venerable is none other than Zen Master Lun Yan. A Twin Rice sect's life token only requires blood, your birthdate and time aren't necessary, Li Wei said, turning to Yao Qingshan. Master, are you familiar with the Six Thoughts Divine Mind Curse? Yao Qingshan said, you suspect Song Yulo was afflicted with this curse by the Twin Rice sect, and at a specific time, his mind was controlled. So he did things without knowing it. He thought he had deceived the Twin Rice sect, but in reality, they were merely using him as a tool. That's a strong possibility. Li Wei agreed. Yao Qingshan fell into deep thought. The Six Thoughts Divine Mind Curse is merely a legend. Because it's so evil, those who practiced it were purged by various factions long ago, disappearing during the era of the Six Thoughts Heart Demon. Moreover, GU curse techniques often harm the caster first, and the conditions for casting them are extremely demanding. Song Yulo, with his exceptional intellect, immediately said, if my mind was controlled and I was forced to steal the formation glyphs and diagrams for them, if I failed to deliver them on time, Zen Master Six Thoughts would surely suspect something. Trust me this once. Modify some of the formation glyphs and diagrams in the book and let me deliver them. Li Wei shook his head. First, the Twin Rice sect wouldn't put all their eggs in one basket. If you disappeared, their other trump cards would surface. Second, when the Twin Rice sect approached you, it was at least several years ago, wasn't it? Back then, you were crucial to them because they couldn't easily conquer the Cloud Heaven Immortal Plane on their own. But now, with the Crown Prince of the Demon Kingdom here, Qilin Zhuang's unparalleled power, and the Nether Realm of the Dead lurking nearby, you're no longer as important. Song Yulu's double pupil suddenly turned gray, then snapped back to normal. But his gaze was completely different, and he struggled desperately against the seals and chains binding him, unable to break free. There's definitely something wrong, Yao Qingshan realized, noticing the change in Song Yulu's eyes. Old Zhou approached. Perhaps a powerful figure is using a GU curse to control his mind. It's terrifying, completely undetectable. Can even the transcendent manners formations withstand such curse arts? Old Zhou reapplied the seals. Li Wei stuffed Song Yulo into a cloth sack. I don't think we need to kill him. The Zhu clan shouldn't offend the West Sea King and the Third Palace Master. It's better to avoid disaster later if this ever comes to light. I'll move him now, we can't keep him here indefinitely. Li Wei tossed the cloth bag into the carriage and was about to drive away when Yao Qingshan stopped him. Why did you even come back? I'm furious. She said. Li Wei flashed a smile. I'll be back before noon tomorrow. I'll give you both an explanation then. Yao Qingshan remained unmoved, still blocking his path. I came back hoping that all hidden ones, including you, Master, can leave the Cloud Heaven immortal plane alive. Many sacrifices could have been avoided. Li Wei drove around Yao Qingshan and exited the mansion. Yao Qingshan didn't stop him. Even if he were bound and sent out of Lingxiao City right now, he'd still return. Old Zhou activated his Nightwalker's garment and followed them in stealth. The old man of medicinal cuisine walked up to Yao Qingshan and whispered, he came back to get married. His intended bride might be that girl from the Zhang clan. He even had hidden to arrange a new bridal chamber. What? The news made Yao Qingshan's vision blur. She desperately wanted to chase after Li Wei and drag him back. This was utter madness. Li Wei drove his carriage to the Azure Cloud Quarter, where the West Sea King's estate was located. Dawn was breaking, and the quarter gates had already opened. Cracking his whip, he urged the horses forward, the carriage heading toward Minglan Lane in the quarter's southwest corner. It stopped before the gate of Old Zhuang's residence. Li Wei's expression was the same as when he had first come here. He jumped out of the carriage and knocked on the door. After a long moment, the door creaked open. Old Zhuang stood shirtless, holding a hammer. Sweat glistened on his skin, clearly having been up for hours, forging metal for spiritual artifacts. His eyes darted around, and he quickly limped over to the horses, pulling the carriage inside. Once inside, the formation activated. Old Zhuang set down his hammer. Why haven't you left yet? The imperial court is hunting you down through many government offices. Li Wei replied, I've come to fulfill my promise. Old Zhuang's expression softened slightly. You're leaving. How long until you go? This afternoon, before the city gates close. You, Zhuang Yu, and my people must all leave the city. Li province will have a place for you. Old Zhuang asked, so urgent. Extremely urgent. Li Wei continued, Grandpa Zhuang, go immediately and bring Zhuang Yu and Zhang Ning here. My time is short. I must see them before noon. Old Zhuang rode away, heading for Phoenix Terrace. Li Wei arrived at the noodle shop beside the main gate of Minglan Lane, ordered a bowl of soup noodles, and waited quietly. No matter what, he still wanted to take Zhang Ning with him. He didn't know if Zhuoqiu Hongting had left Lingxiao City, but he had already sent Hidden Two to contact the Zhuoqiu hidden sect. It would be best if they could all evacuate before the war ignited. An hour later, Zhuang Yu and Zhang Ning arrived at Minglan Lane. In the courtyard, Zhang Ning's eyes were filled with resentment. I heard you were in Fu Prefecture. If you left, why did you come back? I heard you were attacked. Have your injuries healed? Li Wei thought of his upcoming marriage to Zhenhai Guanwu and felt a strange sense of guilt. Suddenly, he felt he no longer had the right to care about her. Zhang Ning's heart warmed, and the resentment in her eyes faded. I'm fine. Do I look like someone who was seriously injured? Zhuang Yu stood behind Zhang Ning, hesitating to speak. Li Wei turned to her, Zhuang Yu, tell me. Zhuang Yu immediately puffed out her cheeks in anger. Xie Chukai's actions were driven by love turned to hate. He struck with ruthless cruelty, and Miss nearly lost her life. Today is the first time she's left Phoenix Terrace since her injury. If I ever meet him again, I'll kill him, Li Wei said. Zhang Ning replied, his condition is strange. He seems to have lost his sanity and become a monster. Forget about him. Zhang Ning, you, Zhuang Yu, and Grandpa Zhuang must leave the city today. The sooner, the better. Don't go back to Phoenix Terrace to pack. Don't alert anyone. Just leave immediately, Li Wei urged. Zhang Ning, sharp-witted and observant, fixed her gaze on Li Wei's eyes. Give me a reason. She knew only that the Sui sect was backed by a heretical sect, a major threat, but was unaware of the impending attack on Lingxiao City. Li Wei stopped deceiving her. Because tomorrow, you won't be able to leave. Why? Zhang Ning asked. Li Wei glanced at Zhuang Yu and Old Zhuang, who were also watching him intently. Then, he revealed everything he could. Zhuang Yu paled in shock. How dare they? The Grand Palace Mistress is still at Phoenix Pavilion Peak, and the Third Palace Master controls the formation. Even if countless demons and demonic specters came, they could be killed. Zhang Ning turned and walked toward the gate. Li Wei flashed forward, blocking her path. With our cultivation, there's only so much we can do. We've already given our all. Staying here any longer is pointless. Zhang Ning had been listening intently, so she understood the gravity of the situation. She forced herself to appear calm. Li Wei, I'm truly grateful to you. I don't know how to express my gratitude. But you should know me. I can't leave alone. I'm a Dao Seed Realm martial mystic cultivator. If all the Dao Seed Realm martial mystic cultivators in the Imperial Court chose to flee in the face of war, who would fight? Put another way, if I can't face danger and tribulation bravely today, if I can't defend the beliefs I've always upheld and fulfill the responsibilities I must bear, then when we tour together in the future and face hardship and setbacks, I'll abandon you at the first sign of trouble. Is that the kind of Zhang Ning you want? Can you understand me? Li Wei felt as if he'd been struck by a club when he heard her final question. Zhang Ning knew that this parting might be their last. She stepped forward and embraced Li Wei, her cheek pressed against his chest. I'll stay at Phoenix Terrace. My actions tomorrow can help you. My presence here isn't without value. You've already done enough for the imperial court. Take Zhuangyu and Grandpa Zhuang and leave the city quickly. All right. Li Wei placed his palm on Zhang Ning's head, and spiritual light erupted from his palm, knocking her unconscious with a single finger. He had expected this. Given her personality, she would never have left. Zhuangyu glared and shouted, "What are you doing? If you don't behave, I'll knock you out too," Li Wei said. Throughout the entire ordeal, old Zhuang remained the calmest. He smiled. I only have 2 years left to live anyway. I'm not leaving. If I can fight a glorious battle before I die, that's all I ask. Don't try to persuade me. You young people have your future, your boundless potential. But this old man has his own perspective on life and death. Li Wei chuckled. Perfect timing. I have 2 matters to entrust to Grandpa Zhuang. First, there's a person in the carriage. Keep a close watch on him and under no circumstances open the bag. Tomorrow, the moment the city's prefectures open their doors, send him to the West Sea King's manor. All right, leave this matter to the old man, old Zhuang replied. Li Wei continued, second, how many veterans are staying in the Azure Cloud Quarter? There are 800 combat-ready veterans, all once the elite of the elite, old Zhuang said. 800 it is. Gather them all today. Tell the public they're heading to Divine Light Pass to rejoin the West Sea camp and answer the call of national duty, Li Wei said. Grandpa Zhuang, do you think they'll respond? Xiao Li, you underestimate them. Yesterday, when news of the Western Territories' defeat reached Lingxiao City, veterans immediately stepped forward, calling for a return to the battlefield. Many have already answered the call, old Zhuang chuckled. Excellent, Li Wei said. Tomorrow at dawn, gather everyone outside the Pale Moon Quarter. And remember, not a word of this must leak. Give me some death spirit fire, old Zhuang said. Li Wei flicked a finger, and a wisp of death spirit fire entered old Zhuang's body. It wasn't a matter of distrust, but rather a precaution against unforeseen circumstances. After leaving Song Yulo with old Zhuang, Li Wei placed Zhang Ning in the carriage and drove out of Minglan Lane. Zhuang Yu bit her lip and parted the rear curtain, exchanging a final farewell glance with old Zhuang, who had followed them to the gate. Only when they turned the corner did tears finally spill from her eyes. Throughout the entire ordeal, she hadn't uttered a single word of dissuasion, maintaining a calm and rational demeanor. She wanted to show old Zhuang that she had grown up and could now take care of herself. Hearing the sobs from inside the carriage, Li Wei looked up. The sun was climbing higher in the sky. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 4, Xuansheng Dao Sect Twin Rice Sect. Chapter 159, 414 The Unlucky Fianca Copyright E. 159th of Volume 4. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Lingxiao City, with a population exceeding 10 million, was a gathering place for the world's strongest cultivators and most brilliant minds. Countless sects, government offices, and clans thrived within its walls. Merchants, carriage companies, peddlers, vagrants, and members of all walks of life, both those who operated in the light and those who lurked in the shadows, all struggled to survive in the cloud heaven immortal plane. None of them were simple individuals. With so many experts and competing factions, conflict, murder, and clashes occurred constantly. Countless matters, both large and small, arose daily, with each figure seemingly more powerful than the last. In a single ward of 100,000 people, at least 100,000 events unfolded each day. 100,000 complex minds churned, each engaged in secret affairs that no one could ever fully comprehend. In a single city, tens of thousands of matters arose daily. The imperial court's various government offices were divided into dozens of departments, each with its own responsibilities: surveillance, detention, policy enforcement, lawmaking, city defense, public welfare, and more. Whether one was a transcendent martial mystic path cultivator or a holy spiritual king, even the most powerful could only grasp the broadest strokes of such a complex situation. From a high vantage point, one could survey the entire city at a glance. But how could a single pair of eyes keep watch over more than a few individuals at a time? Whenever a task required a large number of people to carry it out, each individual became a potential weakness, a potential breakthrough point for an enemy. Even an immortal realm giant like Song Yulo could disappear for a day or two without anyone noticing, unless the Song clan's top brass or Qilin Terrace's higher-ups had an urgent matter requiring his immediate attention. Otherwise, his absence would barely make a ripple. It was perfectly normal for an immortal realm giant to enter closed-door cultivation for half a month, secretly leave the city on business for 7 or 8 days, or conduct covert investigations for 2 or 3 days. As the carriage traveled 4 miles from Azure Cloud Market, it passed over a stone bridge spanning the spiritual stream river, which was over 10 yards wide. The bridge was bustling with people, the liveliest and most chaotic time of day. Li Wei, driving the carriage, glanced sideways and spotted 2 figures standing at the bridge's entrance. Zuoqiu Hongting, using her disguise technique, had assumed the appearance of Zuoqiu Ting, a young master in green robes and a white neckerchief. Beside her stood Yin Shi-san in plain clothes, resembling a servant. Li Wei's current face was that of Sima Qin, whom Zuoqiu Hongting had met before, so she recognized him instantly. Their eyes met, and Zuoqiu Hongting smiled at him. Li Wei stopped the carriage. Zuoqiu Hongting immediately climbed in and, upon seeing Xuanyu with red, swollen eyes from crying and Zhang Ning unconscious in Xuanyu's arms, paused for a moment. Old Li, are you kidnapping the Zhang clan's young mistress? Li Wei, in no mood for jokes, glanced at Yin Shi-san, who had taken a seat beside him. The fact that Zuoqiu Hongting was waiting for him here meant Yin Shi-san must have informed her. After all, Yin Shi-san had been following Zhang Ning closely. Yin Shi-san quickly said, it was Hidden Two who told me to contact the Zuoqiu clan. She guessed you had returned to Lingxiao City and insisted on seeing you. Divine Hidden One, shall I drive? Where are we going? West. Li Wei lifted the carriage curtain and entered. Zuoqiu Hongting asked, when will we strike? Tomorrow morning, Li Wei replied. Zuoqiu Hongting remained relatively calm. So soon. We need to seize the initiative. The sooner, the better. If the enemy strikes first, not only will Lingxiao City be unable to resist, but all of us will be caught off guard, with no time to evacuate. Li Wei continued, can you guarantee the enemy won't strike first? Zuoqiu Hongting nodded. Our original plan was to evacuate key figures from the Zuoqiu hidden sect within 3 days. But with your intervention, it seems we must leave today. She took out an account book and handed it to Li Wei. Li Wei opened it and began to read. The book contained details gathered by the Zuoqiu clan and the Zuoqiu hidden sect, the locations of heretical sect strongholds, undercover agents, individuals who had been bribed, officials in the imperial court who had defected to the demon kingdom, and hidden experts who had undergone soul fusion dead spirit transformation. The information recorded here overlapped only partially with what the Zhu hidden sect and Yao Qingshan had discovered. This undoubtedly meant that what they had uncovered was likely only a fraction of the truth, with more secrets hidden beneath the surface. Why are there so many soul fusion dead spirit experts? Li Wei asked. Zuoqiu Hongting replied, it was the Confucian Dao's ancestor who first detected some of this information and sent it to Lingxiao City. That's how we managed to track down a portion of them. The nether realm of the dead seems to be deeply involved. Both the Ghost City and the Skeletal Manor near the Lingxiao realm have shown unusual activity. The situation is far worse than we anticipated. Li Wei frowned. Isn't Qilin Zhuang trying to establish a demon kingdom? Why would he bring soul fusion dead spirits into the Lingxiao realm, risking the entire realm's destruction? Zuoqiu Hongting shook her head gently. With our cultivation, how can we truly understand the thoughts of a transcendent being? Where are you taking her? Li Wei's gaze fell on Zhang Ning and Xuanyu as he began to seriously consider the question. Zuoqiu Hongting, having pieced together what had happened earlier, said, how far have you two really gone? Don't let her behavior during the battle at the Six Thoughts Zen Temple mislead you. At that time, she was more concerned with creating a spectacle and resolving the threat posed by the mother-child spring. That wasn't her true feelings. What are you trying to say? Li Wei asked. Zuoqiu Hongting smiled. If a man I'm not particularly close to suddenly knocked me unconscious, even if he did it for my own good to get me out of danger, I'd still turn on him when I woke up. That kind of sneak attack is a direct threat to my life, extremely dangerous. I wouldn't allow it to happen a second time. Do you think she'll sever ties with me when she wakes up? Li Wei asked. Zuoqiu Hongting saw that Li Wei seemed unconvinced. She glanced at Xuanyu, who was listening intently nearby, and transmitted a serious message through spiritual qi. How well do you really know her? Li Wei fell silent. Did he truly understand Zhang Ning? He knew nothing about her friends, her parents, whether she had siblings, or her cultivation. Zuoqiu Hongting and Tang Wanzhou were different. Zuoqiu Hongting continued, it might seem like you're close, but she'll never share anything truly important with you. That's what I meant when I said she's deeply guarded. You think you see through her, that she's upright, idealistic, and responsible, but in reality, you know nothing about her. When you think about it, isn't that terrifying? Li Wei asked, what do you know? Zuoqiu Hongting said, the Zhang clan is a branch of the Zhang clan that settled in the Lingxiao realm. I know that, Li Wei replied. Yin Shi-san had already told him about it on their way to Chu Prefecture. Zuoqiu Hongting continued, in Yingzhou, the Zhang clan is a renowned ancient clan. Compared to them, the sacred dark family is insignificant. This branch of the Zhang clan moved to the Lingxiao realm only 1,000 years ago, and they just happened to occupy Fu Prefecture, which lies directly above the underground immortal mansion. What could their purpose be? You don't suspect the Zhang clan is connected to the heretical sect, do you? Li Wei asked. I don't know. I have no evidence, so I won't jump to conclusions. But it does seem strange. Why would the Zhang clan send a branch of their clan to occupy Fu Prefecture? After 1,000 years, why would they know nothing about the heretical sect's headquarters? Xuanhuan Hongting immediately sent a mental message. Do you remember what I told you? The towering palace hall in Zhang Ning's intent. You two are so close, did you ask her about it? Li Wei shook his head. How did you even find out about something so secret? Xuanhuan Hongting pointed to her brow center spirit realm. It told me. It said that a great horror is hidden within that towering palace hall. It undoubtedly referred to the broken ancient lamp within her brow center spiritual realm. Li Wei was shocked to realize that Xuanhuan Hongting wasn't deliberately stirring up trouble. After all, the ancient lamp was a broken supreme spiritual artifact. If it called something a great terror, it was clear that Zhang Ning might indeed be hiding a secret. However, Li Wei had his own judgment. He didn't believe Zhang Ning was intentionally deceiving or pretending. Back at the Bingju's lake, she had been genuinely gravely wounded, nearly dying. Just like himself, didn't he also carry many secrets? As for the Zhang clan's affairs and the secrets within the towering palace hall, she might not understand them as clearly as she seemed to. Similarly, Li Wei knew little about the guardian wife, the Dao ancestors Tai Chi fish, his sect, or the blood-awakened corpse family. Without sufficient cultivation, one simply couldn't access the truth. Forget it, it wasn't in vain to be a jealous wife. Xuanhuan Hongting laughed, then continued, let's put aside our suspicions and focus on the present. What good would it do to forcibly take her out of Lingxiao City? This isn't a war confined to a single city or region, it's a battle for the survival of the entire Lingxiao realm. No place is safe. The flames of war have swept across the land, turning all 28 prefectures into scorched earth. Sending her back to the Zhang family of Fu Prefecture would be even worse. Fu Prefecture is precisely at the heart of the heretical sect's corpse cultivation rice operation, making it the epicenter of the conflict. Bringing her back to Li Prefecture would mean facing Guanshan and Night City, not to mention the Sui sect and Sanchen Palace, which are still hotbeds of conflict. Li Wei pondered for a long time before suddenly laughing. A jealous wife. Aren't we sworn brothers? I'm afraid you think I'm petty and can't tolerate Zhang Ning, so I'm deliberately speaking ill of her, Xuanhuan Hongting sighed, feigning grievance. Li Wei said, Brother Xuanhuan, you have a broad mind, capable of holding a boat in your belly. Help me bring her out of Lingxiao City and take her to Chu Prefecture first. You're pushing it too far. Xuanhuan Hongting continued, go ask around the world, where does a fiancé help her fiancé bring his lover home? We're brothers. And she and I aren't lovers. We may never even reach that point, Li Wei said with a complex expression, his tone earnest. That's true. Before our engagement is dissolved, even if she agrees, the forces behind her will never allow it. Would the second palace master really let her prized disciple become a concubine? Hey. Xuanhuan Hongting then asked, when do you leave the city? I'll be a bit later. We've already taken 99 steps out of 100. The final step is the most crucial, and we can't afford any mistakes. If the human clan in the Lingxiao realm wins this battle, I'll meet you in Chu Prefecture City for a drink, Li Wei replied. Xuanhuan Hongting's eyes were clouded with confusion. Do you truly believe we have a chance of victory? What? Does the Xuanhuan clan have plans to evacuate the Lingxiao realm? Li Wei asked. Xuanhuan Hongting sighed, if the tide turns against us, how can we not send some of our clan members away? But once they leave and enter another living realm, they'll be forced to live as dependents. To gain resources and safety, they'll have to trade something in return. Even at the Calamity Crossing Temple, having a powerful backing is crucial. Brother Xuanhuan, where has your fighting spirit gone? Don't be so pessimistic. You're the young heavenly emperor. After giving Xuanhuan a few words of advice, Li Wei prepared to disembark. Just before leaving the carriage, he suddenly paused and asked, if I were to knock you unconscious to get you out of danger, would you sever ties with me when you woke up? Xuanhuan Hongting was slightly taken aback, then smiled wryly, just get out of the city quickly. After Li Wei dismounted, Xuanhuan Hongting's face and figure rapidly shifted, transforming into Li Wei's likeness. She muttered to herself, as his fiancé, I'll test this out for him. I'll see if great beauty Zhang will really turn on him when she wakes up. I'm truly the world's biggest unlucky fiancé. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 4, Xuansheng Dao Sect Twin Rice Sect. Chapter 160, 415 Farewell with a Wedding Feast. 160th of Volume 4. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. At noon, nearly all the Hidden Ones and Hidden Ones elders gathered at the Transcendent Manor near the Pale Moon Quarter. Inside the council hall, Li Wei and Yao Qingshan sat side by side, rapidly reviewing newly delivered intelligence. Hidden Two stood nearby, meticulously copying the lists and ledgers provided by the Zhuoqiu clan. Old Zhou patrolled the perimeter of the Transcendent Manor, checking for any tales following the Hidden Ones. He was determined to eliminate all potential threats. Old Manao Shan, who had been watching the sundial outside, hurried into the hall. It's a quarter past noon. Only the 12th Elder and Junior Elder haven't arrived yet. The 12th Elder was the gatekeeper guarding the Zhu Li Insect Valley. The Junior Elder was Xing Yuanu, disciple of the Third Palace Master. Li Wei looked up. The Western Territory battle reports reached the city yesterday, throwing all the government offices in Lingxiao City into chaos. It'll be difficult for the Junior Elder to break free. Let's proceed without them for now. Summon everyone else inside. Including Old Zhou, all the Hidden Ones and Hidden Ones elders entered the hall. With Li Wei and Yao Qingshan, there were 21 people in total. Li Wei, seated at the head of the long table, surveyed the group. These past few months have been fraught with extreme danger. We've lost 3 Hidden Ones elders and 3 Hidden Ones, with 4 more missing. Today, it all ends. Take your people and evacuate Lingxiao City in batches before nightfall, returning to Lizhou. Leaving Lingxiao City doesn't guarantee safety. Tomorrow, the entire Lingxiao life realm will likely erupt into war. The prefecture states are particularly dangerous. You may choose to detour through the Eastern Territory. The hidden sect experts present, all possessing exceptional intellect, immediately understood what was about to unfold. Shi Zhoujai asked, if everyone leaves, who will remain to carry out the final task? The final task, of course, was to ignite the flames of war. The method for igniting the war was this. Yao Qingshan would compile the information gathered by the Zhu Li clan and the Zhuoqiu clan regarding heretical sect strongholds, hidden operatives, bribed officials, imperial court members who had defected to the demon kingdom, concealed dead spirits, and the Sui sect's ties to the Twin Rice sect. All this intelligence would be simultaneously delivered to the various prefectural offices of the imperial court, forcing the imperial court to take action. Li Wei had considered sending the information to only one prefectural office, hoping to maintain secrecy. But first, relying on a single prefectural office would make it impossible to eliminate so many enemies within the shortest possible time. Second, if only one prefectural office received the information, what if that office had already been compromised by the enemy? Third, if the other prefectural offices in Lingxiao City remained unaware, they might obstruct the operation, creating internal conflicts that would ultimately derail the entire plan. Publicly revealing the information was a compromise strategy. Once the imperial court began its citywide search, attack, and capture operations, the enemy forces within Lingxiao City would have no choice but to act immediately. Otherwise, by the time the imperial court had purged the city, Lingxiao City would no longer be riddled with vulnerabilities. Any attempt to breach its defenses would become as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Delivering intelligence to the various government offices might seem like a simple task, but the reality was far more complex. Yin Yi said, this final step is the most critical. First, the enemy is scattered throughout the city. We must not leak our plans prematurely, giving them time to react. If we all leave, who can we entrust with delivering the messages while ensuring absolute secrecy? Yao Qingshan replied, for such a momentous undertaking, a transcendent must step forward immediately to oversee the situation. Only then will the imperial court avoid descending into chaos and the various government offices act swiftly. Since the junior elder is absent, who else can deliver the information to the third palace master at once? She is currently in command of Lingxiao City. A Hidden One's elder added, to defend the Cloud Heaven Immortal Plane, our top priority is safeguarding the Immortal Plane Grand Formation, the City Protecting Formation, the Great Nine Heavens Cloud Array, and the 36 Earth Vein Network beneath the city. This must be done before we send out the intelligence. Divine Hidden One, you plan to act at dawn tomorrow, don't you? That's too hasty. We're not yet prepared. Li Wei said, we're not prepared, but neither are our enemies. I'll stay behind to finalize the arrangements. Please trust me. Why should you stay? Yao Qingshan retorted, her gaze unwavering. Spiritual energy crackled at her fingertips, ready to subdue Li Wei and have the other Hidden Ones escort him away. I intend to use the imperial court's conflict with the Sui sect to assassinate Yao Qian. Therefore, I'm the one who must remain. Li Wei glanced at her fingers. Elder Yao, I am the Divine Hidden One. According to the Hidden Sect's rules, you must obey me. Besides, do you know my trump card? What I can resolve, you cannot. Just then, Hidden Two rushed in to report, a wedding carriage is approaching. All eyes in the hall turned to Li Wei. Li Wei rose and strode toward the entrance. The one who can resolve all your worries has arrived. Whoosh. Old Zhou opened the main gate of Transcendent Manor, creating a 2-jong-wide rift in the formation's shimmering barrier. The wedding carriage was not extravagant. Drawn by exotic beasts, the red carriage was adorned with crimson silk ribbons. The hidden ones emerged from the manor and took their positions in the courtyard. The driver, wearing a conical hat, looked up and saw Li Wei standing inside to greet him. A look of disbelief flashed across his eyes. It was none other than Tai Shi Bai. No one else followed behind the carriage. Tai Shi Bai had been sent by his second uncle, Taishi Qingxi, to escort a female clan member to her engagement ceremony. He deeply resented this task, believing that with the 3 western prefectures ravaged by the monster race, the nation facing imminent peril, and the world in turmoil, what was the point of an engagement? Tai Shi Bai leapt down from the carriage, removed his conical hat, and scanned the martial Dao experts gathered in the courtyard. His gaze finally settled on Li Wei. Who's getting engaged? You. Not engaged, married, Li Wei replied with a smile. Tai Shi Bai couldn't contain his anger. Married. To a woman from the Tai Shi clan. What about Zuoqiu Hongting? What about Zhang Ning? Li Wei, you. Iya, what exactly are you and my second uncle plotting? Li Wei realized that the transcendent Zhenhai Guanwu trusted most was likely the Taishi Qingxi. Hidden 2, prepare the food and wine immediately. This is my wedding feast, and a farewell banquet for our brothers. Li Wei took a neatly organized intelligence report from Shi Zhoujai and handed it to Tai Shi Bai. This is why your second uncle sent you here. Take this back. Tomorrow's operation hinges entirely on the Tai Shi clan and the city defense garrison. Tai Shi Bai took the document and began to read it quickly, flipping through the pages faster and faster, his shock growing with each line. His face turned deathly pale, and his hands began to tremble violently. Yang Shenjing of the Sui sect is the vice hall master of the heretical sect's heavenly hall. Yao Qingshan and Old Zhou watched the bridal carriage. As Immortal Realm martial mystic cultivators, their soul spirits and senses were exceptionally keen, allowing them to detect an unusual aura emanating from within the carriage. Tai Shi Bai glared at Li Wei. How could so many heretical sect members and dead spirit masters be hiding within Lingxiao City? The Tai Shi clan actually knew more about the imperial court officials who had defected to the demon kingdom than either the Zhu Li clan or the Zuoqiu clan. Therefore, Tai Shi Bai's greatest shock stemmed from the presence of the heretical sect and dead spirits. Li Wei clapped him heavily on the shoulder. Tomorrow will be a battle for life and death, one that could very well determine the fate of the imperial court and the survival of the human race. Lord Tai Shi sent you here to discuss cooperation, finalize our plans, and ensure our forces coordinate effectively. Tai Shi Bai, being no ordinary man, quickly regained his composure. Half an hour later, Tai Shi Bai fully understood the situation. His heart sank like a lead weight, and he wished he had wings to fly back to the Tai Shi clan immediately. Tonight would be a sleepless night. Li Wei grabbed Tai Shi Bai, who was eager to leave. Since this parting might be our last, shouldn't you at least drink a cup of my wedding wine before you go? Isn't this just a smokescreen? Tai Shi Bai retorted, are you really marrying a woman from the Tai Shi clan? Li Wei approached the bridal carriage and asked telepathically, Zhenhai, have you retrieved the governor's robe and governor's seal from the inner treasury? There were 146 sets in total. I've reserved 6 for the Zhu Li hidden sect. A slender, jade-like hand lifted the carriage curtain. The hand was flawlessly perfect, with long, delicate fingers that seemed boneless and soft, like sculpted immortal jade. This single hand was more captivating than the faces of many women with pure immortal physiques. Under the gaze of all present, Zhenhai Guanwu emerged from the carriage, clad in crimson robes and veiled. Li Ling, sharing her body, had used the disguise technique. Though she exuded no discernible aura, the martial mystic Dao experts present felt their soul spirits under attack when they met her gaze, involuntarily lowering their heads. When they finally regained their senses, they gasped, realizing that this Lady of the Divine Hidden One was likely a figure of extraordinary power. Is she truly the Lady of the Divine Hidden One? No one believed it. Tai Shi Bai was filled with questions. He was certain that no woman in the Tai Shi clan could possess such breathtaking beauty and unparalleled grace. Who exactly is she? Zhenhai Guanwu retrieved 6 sets of governor's robes and governor's seals, handing them to Li Wei. Li Wei felt a strange sense of receiving a dowry as he gave 1 set to Tai Shi Bai. Tai Shi Bai would undoubtedly remain in Lingxiao City. Possessing the governor's robe would significantly enhance his survival capabilities. Li Wei was willing to watch Tai Shi Bai go to battle, providing him with the finest armor and elite troops. But for Zhang Ning, Li Wei would spare no effort to keep her away from the battlefield. The former's romance was unconditional support. The latter's romance was unconditional protection. In similar situations, the bonds between men and those between men and women always differed. Li Wei gave 2 more sets to Old Zhou and Yao Qingshan. As Immortal Realm martial mystic cultivators, they could fully harness the power of the governor's robes and governor's seals. Millennia ago, only those who had reached Great Immortal Realm, the Transcendent Realm, were qualified to wield these treasures and fully unleash their power. Distributing the remaining 3 sets proved difficult. It's not scarcity that breeds discontent, but inequality. Filled with doubt, the 3 released their spiritual energy, activating their governor's robes and governor's seals. In the next instant, they were all stunned, their eyes gleaming with astonishment as they fixed their gazes on the red-robed woman standing beside Li Wei. Tai Shi Bai exclaimed, "How is this possible? The governor's robe and governor's seal have been dormant for a millennium. I haven't cultivated the dragon awakening technique, yet I can activate them. I can wield the robe's spatial power, speed, and dragon soul energy. Even a transcendent would struggle to kill me with this attire," Old Zhou, a great immortal cultivator, declared, his voice filled with awe as he gazed at Zhenhai Guanwu. Zhenhai Guanwu approached Yao Qingshan. "Give me the ghost banner." With the governor's robe's spatial power, even the ancestor of rice cannot bridge the vast distance and ignite the death spirit fire within you. Yao Qingshan retrieved the ghost banner and handed it over. The woman's overwhelming aura made her momentarily suspect the Mist Emperor had returned. "Alright, let's go. The wine is ready. Let's drink a toast to our reunion in Lizhou. In this battle, everyone must survive," Li Wei said, pulling Tai Shi Bai toward the inner hall. Zhenhai Guanwu followed leisurely behind. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel.